This week on the stage right side, we have Cassandra Trenary, aka Cassie. We're going to talk about the performance of Giselle that we did this week together. It was her last Giselle with American Ballet Theatre, so stick around on the stage right side with James Whiteside. I'm so excited. We're in the Jillian Murphy's dressing room because mine is occupied. That's what happens when you have dressing roommates and you have a podcast. You have to be respectful of their existence and not be like, get out.
Yeah.
I have a podcast. So what I do is I break into my friend's dressing room
Yeah,
to do the thing.
It's good vibes in here.
And we've reorganized all the furniture.
That's
so
true.
We'll have to remember how to put it back.
That's true. It's good. It's fine.
We're doing fine. So it is Monday, and it is the 4th week of the Met season. We have done the following. Swan Lake. We've done, what was second?
Wolfworks.
Wolfworks by Wayne McGregor. We
Giselle.
did Giselle by, you know those guys. Corrali, Perot, whatever.
Yeah.
And now...
Yeah. We're doing The Winter's Tale by
We're doing
Christopher Wheeldon.
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing? Cassie and I performed last week together. We did Giselle on Thursday evening.
Yeah.
And it was Cassie's last Giselle with ABT because she is joining the Vienna State Opera this summer.
Mm-hmm.
She's heading up over there in August and starting with, guess what? Giselle. So, how you doing? How's you, I don't know.
God.
I don't even know where to
begin.
begin.
Where do we start? I feel good. I mean, honestly, I'm still kind of coming down from our performance. It was one of those, shows where, I mean, you must have felt crazy because you also danced. You should explain.
Yes, okay. So I had a unique opportunity, let's call it, to do 2 performances of Giselle back to back. So I did the Wednesday matinee here at the Met, and then Thursday evening with Cassie. And Wednesday matinee, I danced with Jillian Murphy, who is retiring this season, later this season with Swan Lake. And I'm so excited I get to do that with her. But it was her last Giselle with the company / ever. And her partner, unfortunately, was injured, and they needed somebody to do it. And I was a possibility. And so they were like, are you going to be able to do 2 back-to-back? And I, of course, selfishly, I just want to be a part of these special moments with my friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did 2 shows back to back, which is physically really, really difficult, if I'm being completely honest.
Also, the pressure, I imagine, too. Just, I don't know, you're such a thoughtful partner that I imagine the pressure of wanting to just, do a good job for Jillian and me, but,
Yes.
Whatever. Specifically Jillian, what an
Both of
absolute
you.
honor to get
Both
to
of
do
you.
her very, very final shows.
Yeah.
But you're an incredible partner, and neither one of us could let you go either, so.
No, that makes me feel good. Thank you. Yeah, it was really special, honestly, and physically difficult, but emotionally very fulfilling.
Yeah.
And it's Monday, so I've had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to sort of recalibrate my body. I was beat up
So
over the
unwell.
weekend. Oh my
God. I feel like today's the first day that, and I can't even imagine how you feel, because for me, I still feel like I'm in a way recovering. And I think for me, it's different because the repertoire that I do here, aside from Giselle, doesn't really require that kind of physicality for me. And I don't think my body was fully ready for what it was about to experience.
It's a lot of jumping around in Giselle for both parties.
A lot of jumping around, a lot of point work, a lot of turn out, do your thing properly.
Yeah.
There isn't a ton of space for kind of just relaxing out of things.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just depleted.
So let's talk about the performance.
Okay.
So for me, I feel like it was a different experience just because it was my second day in a row doing it. And I felt very physically aware of my pain. So I have severe tendonitis, obviously, in both knees, which led to the rupture of my patellar tendon on the left knee. But my right knee has really bad patellar tendonitis, and it was quite activated by the performance the previous day. So I spent much of my performance on Thursday being like, am I going to be okay?
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
So I also suffer from severe patellar tendonitis.
We both have tiny joints.
And for whatever reason, my knees have held up quite beautifully the
Mm.
last like year or so, and
Hmm.
I've done a lot of work on them.
Hmm.
Maybe my body was responding to your body.
And you caught
Because
it?
I had an oops major flare up on stage that
Huh.
day, and I'm only just now processing, like, maybe my body was like giving you
Sinking.
sympathy
Hmm.
pains. Because I had a little what we call
Zinger.
a zinger,
Hmm.
which is where essentially your patellar tendon just like has like a little what feels like a rip, or like somebody's just like stabbing you
It's
in
like
the
a micro
kneecap.
tear,
Right,
basically.
exactly. And it happened. I was like, oh God, my knees are really killing me today. And it had been sort of building up over the week. And
Hmm.
then in the show, I remember I started the like first waltz and I just smiled at you. And then I did this like Tonda flush. And then it was like, and I was like, ah! And so I also felt like I started just becoming very aware of my body. So we were just two very hyper aware
Yeah.
girlies in our show.
But that being said, I was able to lose myself in the story,
Mhm.
and that's a huge priority for both of us.
You were giving a lot of like you were how would you describe? Did you notice this about yourself,
No.
or were you just being?
I was giving Smize prints.
You were giving Smize prints. You were giving like, I know what I got to give, and I'm giving it, and it was really charming. And I was like, ooh, wow. And my friend Ross, our friend Ross, after the show, he was like, you were like giving it back, and I was like, I don't know why my response to you being that way is to just meet you there.
Yeah,
and I don't
think
even
that's
know
very
if that's
normal.
entirely Giselle, but it got me thinking about how, depending on who's in front of you, it really does inform what you do with a character. And oftentimes I see a lot of folks, and myself included, like I'll have all these ideas about what I want to do, and then I get in front of somebody and they don't give me what they don't match your freak. Yeah, so that was just really fun for me because we hadn't actually done the whole ballet until the show.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
That's how we do it.
We have like rehearsals separately, but we don't have we don't have 2-hour rehearsals where we run the whole ballet.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious though, for you, what was the biggest difference between like, I mean, Jillian and I have very different approaches, like of course, but as you and how your characters informed, did you feel like you found yourself changing things?
I have, and I feel like I've evolved so much in this ballet more than any other full-length classical ballet.
Yeah.
This was the first full-length I ever did, and I was 20.
In Boston?
I was 22 years old when I did my first one of these in Boston.
Wow.
And my my priorities have like completely changed in this ballet.
Yeah.
And
what were they the first round?
Completely technical.
Yeah.
Completely technical.
Okay.
Whereas as I age and discover what I like to see, it's all obviously technical, but I've just like learned about stagecraft and how to tell a story better.
Yeah.
And I also have learned, like I might be the worst one ever, but I also have to myself improved a lot in the storytelling and the characterization, because I don't know about you, but like the naturalness of these people has to exist within ballet, and it's really difficult for me, like very modern and energetic person, to squeeze myself into the mold of this like quite stoic person who has to appear straight. So between like changing partners doesn't super affect, like I'm not like a more fun loving prince with one person over the other. It's more like me trying to adhere to my own work over the past literal 20 years or whatever.
Right. You're like, I'm code switching.
Yeah, it's code switching. It's just acting, Yeah. And then specifically physically, you and Jillian need very different things.
God, that must have been so difficult.
No,
like I remember
it's
after
fun.
we ran like an act one day, and then I went upstairs and I was like in the principal hallway watching you and Jill on the monitor, and I thought to myself, ugh, bless you, because you were doing the exact same pas de deux, but with Jill, and I could just see like the micro differences and like where she prefers to be put, and like I require a lot, I feel, and I think she requires quite little, is what my assessment would be, and not in a bad way or a good way. It's just different.
I think it's up to
But
me
you're
to
just like,
adapt. And
he's really good at it. That's my point. He's like really, really good at partnering.
I
And
think
we
women
enjoy
are
it.
like, you know, like a region. So you like say,
Wait, did you say a region?
yeah, like say I'm in Spain and or like say I'm in Italy
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah,
go to a
yeah.
specific region and I have to be able to speak the dialect of that region.
Yes,
But then the
yes.
next day I take a bus to another region and I
Yeah.
have to speak that
You heard
dialect.
it here first. We're regions.
Women are a region.
Women are regions, as are men.
And
My
like,
God,
you
like
know,
the desires that like different partners have, like totally. Yeah, it's a great way of putting
what
it.
I like also about the people I work with a lot of the time are they match my freak.
Yeah.
And I think when you get people who are willing to go somewhere with you and like be vulnerable in the way that it takes to experiment,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like blow smoke up our own asses too much, but it's really hard work and we've worked really hard at it and we might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I'm really proud of the growth that we've achieved in this
Yeah.
work.
As have I.
So, that being said,
As
you're
have
doing
I.
Giselle at the Vienna State Opera. It's your first thing there. What do you want
Yeah.
to change in your own portrayal? It's essentially a different version, but with a lot of the same elements.
Yeah, no, that's such a good question. I don't know if I've thought about what I might want to do differently. I'm more just approaching really just getting there and going there and all the work that I do with like a curiosity because I imagine I mean, listen, every time we like what am I saying? Every time we return to these ballets, it's like a year has gone by.
Yeah.
And so I find that whatever I've experienced that year in my personal life just undoubtedly informs the work. And I find myself constantly like pulling from personal experience to um, find like an emotional beat in every
Yeah.
single moment. It's like, when was the last time I felt so utterly alone?
Yeah.
And I just kind of take a moment to like put that on.
Mhm.
And so I think really just like life will continue to shift the way I approach the work, like you said about
Yeah.
the first time you did it when you were 22 and to now.
Yeah.
And sort of like, I'm really interested in seeing. Should we pause?
No, it's all good.
Okay.
It's New York City,
It's New
baby.
York babes. And kind of just like understanding what Alessandra is curious about
Yeah.
in these classics. Like we got in the studio a couple of times together.
Alessandra Ferri, former ABT Prima, new director of Vienna State Opera.
Yeah. And I'm so excited to just spend a bit more time with her in the studio. We had maybe 1 hour that we worked on Giselle when she was visiting a few months back. And the first thing she said to me was she just really loves the natural quality of what I was bringing to it. She said, honestly, she said the only way these ballets will survive is if we bring truth and authenticity to them. And like stylistically, the way people have approached theater, that has shifted over the years. What moves audiences has shifted over the years. And I think now we're entering into a time where there are so many different ways to approach this. So just what feels the most authentic to you and how can you find your way in? And for me, that's like approaching it with a bit more of a, I guess, a pedestrian quality, if you will. And so the biggest thing she said to me was, the best way to keep it ballet is to remember that it is a style and there's a romantic style involved. And how do we incorporate that but not remove the truth that you're finding in your approach? And for her, it was a pommel, which for those of you who don't know is the way we use our arms and our like necks. And it's the like weird sort of affectations that make ballet, but is really pretty.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's angles. It's really just like how we hold ourselves on stage. And she said it's in the transitions. And so I'm just like excited to dig into that and just keep building upon what I already have to offer.
I find a lot of what you just said to make specific sense for something like Giselle because you have the sort of filmic pedestrian quality of Act 1 where you're just a girl telling a story, you're doing your thing, and then in Act 2 it's so abstract, you're a literal ghost.
Jost.
You're a jost. You come in and it's super stylized, like heavily iconic, for lack of a better
And
word.
was it choreographed by someone different? Was it like Act One was choreographed by someone, Act Two was choreographed by someone?
I don't
If I
I
remember,
don't know. I know there are two. It's Jules Perot and
Rowan.
Oz Corrali,
Okay.
something
And
Corrali.
Adolphe Adam did the
The music,
score
yeah.
for both acts.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, okay.
I really, hot take. I really can't stand the Act One music. The waltz is so grating to
Mm.
me. I know that's unpopular and because I love a lot of this music in this ballet.
Yeah.
But I can't with the waltz.
They leaned heavily on like themes.
They said,
and they were like, we're
ding,
just gonna
ding,
keep
ding.
doing it over and over and
Yeah.
over and over and over again. Am I missing rehearsal? No, we're good.
So, what was I gonna say to you about Act?
We hate Act One.
No.
No, we don't.
I like elements of Act One. Let's talk about the mad scene. So in Giselle, there's this scene called the mad scene in which, upon discovering that the prince, Prince Albrecht or Count Albrecht, he's posing as a peasant to essentially get in Giselle's panties, and um, and he is discovered by this guy, this village person, who has a crush on Giselle. He finds his, fancy sword and whatever, and tells Giselle, and Albrecht is like, yes, sorry, this is my fiance, blah blah blah, who happens upon the village. I don't know where I was going with this.
Giselle finds out in front of the
Oh yeah, the
entire
mad
town.
scene. Oh my god, my brain.
It's
So
okay.
the mad scene is
Long.
really, really interesting, archaic device. And I am so curious about how you feel about like your own ideas and portrayal of a woman on the verge of a nervous breakdown, having a heart attack, but
Yeah.
also emotionally completely and utterly shook, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word.
Yeah.
It is such a thing from before, if that makes sense. Like the
Yeah.
mad scene as a plot device is so I don't want to say misogynistic, but like relies heavily on the idea of histrionics.
Yeah. No, it's very true. And it's like a complicated scene to enter into for someone like me who like really cares about
Woke
that.
diva.
Woke diva, if you will. No, I think the best way in is to recognize that there is like a health condition involved. Like
Mhm.
what I do is I dig into like what are just the logistics here? Like what can we do, to sort of for myself as a performer stray away from
Tropey,
she's just
tropety,
crazy.
trope. Yeah.
It's here's 5 minutes of crazy boots. Stop it. Oh,
It's
guys.
tough. It's tough out here.
And so I guess like I could talk about this. We're not going to get into this too much because I could go on
Tutu.
and on.
Nice.
I just no.
I'm pointing to the tutus in the background. Those are the iconic Jillian Murphy's Black Swan and White Swan tutus.
You're
Odette, no
welcome.
deal. So,
And Giselle rehearsal toot right
oh
here
yeah.
as well. Guys,
And her costume. It's there too.
oh,
Wow.
the energy, the vibes are immaculate in here. It's true.
And we're using a bottle of Vouv to stand up.
That was just her gift.
to stand the camera up. Okay, I'm
It
so
does
sorry
not
to
get more
interrupt.
glamorous than this. Okay, no, it's good. So I can speak to just like my own process and try to keep it concise, but essentially I remind myself that this is somebody who has been on the verge since the beginning of the ballet, not the verge of a psychotic break, but the verge of intense heart failure, and someone who has to be careful and has been told she has to be careful her entire life and doesn't have any people around her really. So finding this connection is really just a way out of loneliness, and I think it is for him as well. Two people trapped in circumstances that they were like born into, and that's relatable. So kind of like starting from a place of I am ill, I am physically ill. That is not like playing into a trope that is like women are weak. It's just this is someone who's physically unwell. So there's that. And then what I discovered in sort of my process round one, I went through watching many different versions, and I thought to myself, if I don't decide to have a psychotic break from the beginning of the scene, at what point is it that I do have a psychotic break? And for me, it was when I start to really collapse. Like my heart really is starting to give out, and that probably takes place after
The whole flower.
flower happens. So
The
like
whole,
for
like,
me, the beginning of the scene is
processing.
processing and trying to like convince myself and everybody around me that I'm not crazy. And also remembering that my friends who are in the village, like my friends, like who are separate from me, but for whatever reason, like we know each other well enough that I was like, look at this person. He was there and you all saw him, right?
Yeah.
Like, but we all know, I know what it feels like to have like gone on a journey with someone and then they like flip the script on me and I'm like, am I crazy?
Yeah.
Did I imagine all of that? Like he said he loved me. So it's really, yeah, processing, allowing myself to feel the rage, allowing myself to feel the shame, seeing that my mom is there, the royalties, everybody's there, like witnessing this. And I've brought such intense shame. My mom's gonna lose her business. Like I start kind of going there, like spiraling, which I do naturally as a person. So that's not too difficult to pull from. I'm like, who's mad at me? Who's gonna get in trouble? What have I done? This is all my fault, right? So leaning into that, and just like wanting to not be there anymore, wanting to make life easier for my mom. So that's how I think we're dealing with someone who does want to disappear. And so that snap decision to pull the sword is like, I gotta go. Like that's the easiest decision for everybody here.
And she's young too, right? She's
Yeah.
whatever, like 16 or something in the
we're dealing
story.
with a teenager. So I've been able to justify it for myself. I don't know how it reads or if it looks like everybody else's, but that's been the best way that I can find my way in a way that I believe in it and that I think will then be relatable for other people who are watching, like a more current audience.
We're all just doing our thing, and not everyone is gonna like everything.
Yeah,
and all of that.
And that's
Speaking
totally
of
fine.
The performance as a whole, like, how do you feel? Sorry, Siren, New York City. I don't know why there need to be sirens on. Like it's a one way, and there's like not that much going on.
They gotta tell people to like
to move
GTFO,
over.
like move.
Okay.
Move.
Yeah, okay. I'm cool.
No, it's fine.
I'm cool.
It's gonna be great.
I'm like, it's so grating. New York is an assault. So I want to make you comfortable by telling you things that I hate about myself. So I want to talk about my performances this week and just in general. Like, there are a lot of things I'm really proud of, but as in any performance, it's not perfect. And I want to talk about how I get over such things. So, like, technically, I feel like I can always do better. Like, I'm always like, okay, I was fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was literally just fine.
Yeah.
But I have to also remember that I'm still a principal at ABT, which is not nothing.
Yeah.
But specifically for me, like, things that I felt really uncomfortable with like, as I age and deal with physical imbalances are things that used to be more comfortable to me than they are now. Like, simple pirouettes, basically. Like, any type of pirouette I can't push off in the same way that I did before I had knee surgery. So I'm like still relearning how to turn. And so, like, I don't know, there's like nothing catastrophic in my variations or anything, but I still know that I could do better. And I struggle with not harping on about such things. Be like, well, that I biffed that, or like, that was basic, or that was that was a plebeian variation. Plebeian? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Wait, what is that word?
You know, like the common folk.
How dare you?
Yeah. So, I don't know. I look back on the performances of this week and previous weeks, and I'm always proud, but I'm also like, wish I was better. Tell me about your experiences.
I mean, I think I am, in a way, fortunate because my perspective is now, like, just enjoy it because it's the last time
I
you're
mean,
gonna get to do it for a minute. Meaning here, and
Yeah.
I think what has been a gift about making the decision to make moves is it's allowed me to like enter into every show with a lot more gratitude and
Mm.
kind of focusing on that. I mean, Giselle, every time I came off stage, I looked at you and I was like, that was weird, because it was like things were happening that were like within my control, but also like I was doing my best and things weren't maybe as strong, but I was also, for whatever reason, able to let it go.
Yeah.
But I also think it's because for a ballet like Giselle, because it is so character driven first, for me anyway,
Same.
and maybe that's, like you said, not everybody's cup of tea, which is fine. Maybe they're like, wow, she's so bad at dancing, but she was really happy out there. Like, okay, it's fine.
Is there a moment you feel specifically proud of
mm,
in the performance?
it was the show, honestly. What was bizarre, we talked a little bit about this in the beginning. I was very aware of my knees.
Mhm.
I was like, whoa, they hurt so bad. So I found my attention going to really paying attention to how I was physically doing everything.
Yeah.
And then trying to layer on top of it, well, Giselle just has bad knees today. Like, she's physically not well anyway, so let's just lean in.
Heart condition, bad knees. She's really not doing
She's
great.
a mess. And so I found myself a bit like, it was weird too, because I think what people should know too is that there was no tech rehearsal for us. We literally went out there and did the show for the first time in the show.
Yeah.
And so I found myself giving myself a lot of compassion in moments as well, like, and maybe that's just maturity. But I was also a little disappointed. Like, I found myself getting a bit frustrated in moments with like, God, I wish I had known what this is going to feel like, that all of the elements would have been set up for me.
For context, y'all, a tech rehearsal is essentially a dress rehearsal with lights and costumes and all of the elements, props, everything. So when we say we don't get a tech rehearsal, we mean our first time doing the performance with costumes, sets, lights, props, the other characters, literally the other characters, and the corps de ballet is the performance. So the first time I'm out there doing my variation and trying not to like bang into willies and everything, is with an audience full of people. And just let that sit for a moment, that that's what we deal with on top of the outrageous expectations we have of ourselves and the high standards we are desperately clinging to.
I thought of what I was proud of, though, as you were saying that,
please.
Which is like, I think I found myself with all of those said elements and sort of like things working against us in a way, instead of being more like energized and like lifted and like shaky and nervous by that, I just realized it actually forced me to be more present, to really look around me, and it grounded me in a way. And I think that is something I am proud of, because there were moments where instead of just running around to start my variation, I had to really look at where I was in the space and then make the choice to put myself somewhere. Whereas when you're used to just doing something on autopilot and you're like very aware of this, or you're just used to the conditions, you then don't leave space to really pay attention to what's happening around you. And I found myself very aware, and as a result quite grounded, and really looking at the people around me and taking the time in places that I needed to take time, even if it meant musically I wasn't in the right place. The hops on point are always an issue for me, and there was a moment, I'm just like on my little biscuit, just like bopping around, and not once have I gotten through them in a performance of Giselle. And there was a moment where I could have given up, and I didn't, and it was a bit weird, and I somehow ended up in this position, and I just kind of kept bopping. I just kind of kept going, and I dug my heels in, and I was like, it's fine. Push through the discomfort and just finish it for yourself. And I did. I don't think it was very pretty, but I was proud of myself for just like digging my heels in and doing it anyway.
Tenacity.
Things like that, where I
Gumption.
was like,
Moxie.
oh, I.
Sorry.
No, it's great. I found myself in several moments throughout the ballet, just like it was an opportunity for exploration and growth, and it wasn't a perfect performance, but I really did find like moments of living, and I loved Act 2. I loved our adagio, felt so lovely, and like everything we spoke about was like right there, and I could really just enjoy it. And you probably felt like a dumpster fire from your show before. But I felt so supported and beautiful,
Good.
and I really appreciated that. And I somehow had like energy.
Yeah.
That was really cool too.
Yeah. I mean, that's the perk of dancing all day, every day, is like you
Yeah.
really, these ballets are strenuous, to say the least. So you get really tired, but it's nice when we get into this flow in the Met season where
Yeah.
you're just, you're tired. It's like you're gonna die, but you're gonna live.
You're gonna die, but you're gonna live.
Yeah.
And it's also like your body gets to this place where you actually don't have to push so much. It's just kind of doing it for you.
Yeah.
And that's a really like exhausting place to sit in, but you're just kind of, it's just working somehow.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Met season shape is crazy. That's why everybody's giving cheekbone, because we're just killing it out here. I have to pat myself on the back for one thing, and that's gonna be my capeography.
Oh, that was good.
So I have been working on this
Wait, I
for
did notice
so
that.
long.
Oh,
Come
sorry.
in. Who's that?
Yay,
Hi.
Amanda!
Come on in, Amanda.
Hi.
I'm sorry,
We're doing
we're
a
recording a
podcast.
podcast.
Come, be a part of it. We
We're
were just
almost
talking
done.
about our
We're almost
Giselle.
done.
Okay.
This is Amanda McCarroll.
Wait, come say
the
hi.
icon legend.
Yes.
You don't have to also, but I would love it if you did.
Yeah, because
Hello.
also she worked on this with us,
Mhm.
this ballet.
She coached
and,
us so
oh,
beautifully and was so
nice. We're talking
invaluable.
about Giselle.
Oh, a total pleasure
Mm.
being with you guys on
Thanks,
that ballet, but always
Amanda.
being with you guys. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry to
Amanda.
interrupt.
No.
No,
don't
we'll
be
be
sorry.
done in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No
I'll let you
worries.
know.
Hang out with
Thank
us.
you. I'm sorry to be inhabiting the space.
Oh, my bad.
You can leave whatever you want.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
no, just come hang. It's fine.
Yeah. So.
You were patting yourself on the back.
Oh yes. So Kevin Mackenzie, the former director who taught me this ballet, the ABT version, and coached me a lot, really wanted me to essentially work the cape in this way. So he would be like, okay, if you run at a certain angle and then you curve around and let go of one side of the cape will sort of like wrap around your feet in this very like cinematic cunty way, pardon my French.
Yeah.
And I have like I've been trying for over 10 years in this production to work it, and I like practice in the rear wagon. Like the rear wagon is behind the stage. It's where you can like rotate a new set into the stage.
Rear wagon.
But yeah, I'm always like running around on the wood floor being like, damn, it didn't work. And it finally worked on stage. And I was literally like,
You were feeling it too. I even saw it. Like I was standing on the side and you went zoom and the whole thing went boom, 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 boom. And then it just kind of draped off your shoulder, and the way you took a step forward, I was like, ooh, bitch, you feel
I
good.
felt really good.
I went, oh, bitch.
Oh, it was very exciting for something that I've been working on for 10 years to actually work.
I know. Well, and also, as y'all know now, we don't get this cape until like 5 minutes before the
Yeah.
show, so
So that's
well
why
done you.
Mirta's out there doing her soda bosks, and I'm running around in the rear wagon trying to make this cape work. And the lilies are 45 feet long. Okay,
Yeah.
Cassie, I want to say I have loved every moment of dancing with you over the past, what is it now?
10, 15. Well, you joined
13 years for
around
me.
the same time, right?
Yes.
12,
you were
13?
12,
Yeah,
and you were 11. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just can't tell you how much I'm gonna miss you.
Me
My
too, Sid.
my friend, but also my amazing partner on stage,
Yeah.
and in many creative endeavors over the years. So everybody, make sure to follow Cassie at Cassandra Trenary on Instagram,
Mhm.
and her amazing, beautiful photography at Pearl
Aw.
Takes Pics.
Thanks, James.
I love you so much.
I love you, baby. Thank you for having me.
And we're dancing together this week too, so you can't get rid of us.
That's right. Meow.